Good afternoon. In today's video, we are going to be looking at Tropical Storm Milton, which is expected to be our next hurricane that could bring some big impacts to Florida yet again. Now here we are looking at the Gulf of Mexico satellite imagery. You can see we have Tropical Storm Milton currently in the western Gulf of Mexico, and this is expected to develop very quickly into a hurricane over the next 48 hours and head eastward over to Florida around the Tampa area later next week. And here is the current forecast cone. This was just issued as a tropical storm about an hour ago. So Milton currently has a maximum sustained winds of 35 miles per hour, moving north northeast at 3 miles per hour. And as you can see, it's going to be heading eastward through next week, and we get to about Wednesday and it looks to be making landfall around the morning hours of Wednesday near the Tampa area. This could change as well over the next few days as we forecast the storm, but this is forecasted to become a category 2 hurricane by landfall, so definitely a pretty decent strong hurricane that's going to get into the Tampa area that could bring some decent storm surge as well. Now, so far, rainfall totals are looking pretty moderate as of right now. We are starting to see some rainfall total potentials that are going up to 8 to 12 inches of rainfall across this area that reaches from north of Tampa Bay all the way over to Daytona Beach. And some localized areas will see more rainfall than some areas as well. Miami could definitely see quite a bit of rainfall as well, 6 to 8 inches of rainfall. I wouldn't be surprised for the Miami area. Jacksonville, Florida could also see a little bit of rainfall from this, potentially 4 to 6 inches of rainfall. So not only storm surge will be the flooding threat for this, but rainfall totals will definitely be one of the main concerns from this storm. Here are the current model track guidance. So these are your spaghetti models. As of right now, we do see a lot that go right into the Tampa area. However, we are starting to see a few more models that are going more south, more towards Key West, Fort Myers, Miami. So this is why we're gonna have to watch it over the next few days, as we still have some ensembles that are not quite agreeing on the main track for this storm. In models a few days ago kept showing the storm and kept not showing the storm. The models so far have been overall pretty weird with this storm, so don't be surprised if the track changes last second, because these models are very fluctuating. GFS ensembles pretty much have the same track as the National Hurricane Center. However, I do think they have it a little more south on this black line. You could see a lot of these ensembles that are just kind of stretching out like the cone of uncertainty. So there's a lot of areas that still could see a landfall of the storm. I do think this is definitely going to change, but National Hurricane Center with Hurricane Helene, they were near perfect with the track on that going into the Big Bend of Florida. So this could either change, or this could pretty much stay the same on track wise. This is definitely going to be hitting towards the Tampa or Fort Myers area. Here is model intensity guidance for Tropical Storm Milton. It's going to be developing into a stronger tropical storm around 40 hours from now, likely into a hurricane by 60 hours from now. We do have some models that reach category 2 status. We do even have some reaching category 3 status, and this is going to be pretty much worst case scenario, cat 3 to cat 4, and we only have around 4 models hitting cat 3 and cat 4. So remember, major hurricane is not out of the question right now. The main forecast is going to be forecasted category 2, but definitely keep an eye on this storm very closely, because strong cat 2 to a low end cat 3 is definitely possible. Here is the current 12Z GFS model, and this is just a single model, but a pretty accurate model track wise. But sometimes a GFS model can kind of overdo hurricanes, but usually they're pretty accurate. They have been this year. So as we move forward, this is going to be tomorrow on Sunday. You can see this develops into a category 1 hurricane probably by Monday. This gets really strong all the way by Monday, and it drops down to 947 millibars. That is a strong category 3 hurricane, and I think the GFS model has it moving a little more slowly, so that's going to give it more time to develop. But the GFS model does have it making landfall on early Wednesday as a near category 3 hurricane just north of Tampa Bay area. So this has a little bit more north than most of these forecasts say. That would bring a lot more storm surge through Tampa depending on the angle this is making landfall as. So Tampa definitely needs to start getting prepared for this storm, because if this just goes a little more northward and doesn't make a direct landfall on Tampa, Tampa is definitely going to see a lot more storm surge than they've seen in quite a while. This exits Florida on Thursday according to the GFS model, and shrivels out into the Atlantic. Pretty much no impacts for the Carolinas, fortunately. But yet again, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina needs to keep a close eye on this storm. As we look at the European model, you could see we have Milton right here. It has it a bit weaker, and it has it more south, more towards Fort Myers and the Key West area. The 00Z run has it making landfall just in between Fort Myers and Tampa Bay, heading through Orlando and Daytona Beach as well. So a lot of these models are starting to be very similar with the storm. The CMC model has this as a strong hurricane heading right into Fort Myers, and then we have the Icon model as well. Strong Cat 2 probably heads right in between Fort Myers and Tampa. So once again, a hurricane that we need to be concerned about in October, as hurricane season is still ongoing. Here is current wind shear values, and this map may look a little scrambled, but you can see the United States is right here in the red colors. Those are unfavorable conditions for tropical development. Yellow is kind of neutral, so tropical development is possible. And then green is favorable conditions. Here's the Gulf of Mexico, and here is Tropical Storm Milton over here. This is actually from a couple days ago. We're going to be zooming forward on what this wind shear is doing. And you can see Milton right now is in the southwestern Gulf of Mexico. And as of right now, there's quite a bit of wind shear that's currently north of the storm. Not much to the south, so this is pretty much in its little own pocket of favorable wind shear. The National Hurricane Center is expecting to be a clear path for the storm wind shear wise at Florida. That's why they have it developing into a category 2 hurricane. And current sea surface temperatures are currently very hot in the Gulf of Mexico. A little cooler in the northern Gulf of Mexico, but where this storm is going to be hitting, the waters are still piping hot at 29 to 30 Celsius, which could initiate once again rapid intensification. We've heard that word over the last 2 weeks with Hurricane Helene. So rapid intensification is definitely going to be possible with this storm, but not as likely as we saw with Helene. It depends on how fast this storm is going to be moving. If you did enjoy the update on expected Hurricane Milton that's going to bring impacts to Florida, be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you won't miss a single video or live stream. Make sure to share this video with any friends or family that might be impacted by Hurricane Milton. Give that vital information to them so they can stay safe. Like the video and recommend it to more people so they can get more information on Milton. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe.